Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring the Jet-A Jerry O'Lace, Rocket J. Squirrel, and his pal, Bullwinkle the Moose.
Hi, glad to see you again.
Likewise.
We got some great things on the show today.
Like what? Like what?
Well, you ought to know, Bullwinkle. You're in some of them.
Well, let's get started.
Well, last time was a black-letter day for our friends. Not only did Boris kick them through a doorway into the Potomac River, but he made off with the first prize for this whole sequence, the Curward Derby.
Natasha, guess what? We won once.
Hardly seems possible, darling.
Hey, maybe they got new writers on the show. Thanks, fellows.
Put on hat, Boris. Find out how we rule the world.
Fortunately, the two villains were being watched by those two kooky moon men, Gidney and Cloyd.
I scooch him now, huh? 1, 2.
No, Cloyd, not now.
But he's gonna put on the Curwood Derby.
That's right.
How can you do this, Gidney? It's downright unmoon.
Not really. Just watch.
And while the moon men watched, all eyes,
And little else.
Boris placed the Curwood Derby on his head.
I got notebook, darling. Speak up.
It's all coming clear.
Yes, darling. How do we rule the world?
But something remarkable seemed to be happening to Boris.
What is it, darling? What are you thinking?
I can see it now.
Go ahead.
Being a villain is such a waste of time.
What?
Nobody likes me, not even other villains. If everybody was like me, what a terrible world it would be. The wise thing to do is learn a trade, like making apple boxes, raise family, gain the respect of neighbors, have friends, because, Natasha, crime really doesn't pay, and fooey fooey.
Boris, you're not going to wear Curwood Derby?
You said it. If that's being smart, you can have it.
He threw it away, Gidney.
Yep, you see, Cloyd, some people just can't stand being smart.
How come?
Because they can't admit they were ever dumb.
Meanwhile, what of our friends Rocky and Bullwinkle?
We're floating down the Potomac, that's what of.
Hey, you're doing pretty well, Bullwinkle.
What do you mean?
I mean, considering that you can't swim, you're doing hokey smoky sing.
And the plucky squirrel dived under and hauled Bullwinkle up by the antlers.
I wish you hadn't said that, Rock. I sank clear to the bottom.
I didn't think the water was that deep here, Bullwinkle.
Well, I'll just show you. The water's clear up to here.
Come on, Bullwinkle.
And our friends walked up on the shore and right into the outskirts of a large crowd.
Wonder what they're waiting for.
Maybe waiting for the president to throw out the first cherry blossom.
What's a big crowd for, mister?
New congressman coming to town today.
Really? Who's that?
Feller from a small town in Missouri.
I thought they already had one of those once.
Nope, he went back home again.
Too bad. He played a mean piano.
This one's name is Squirrel, Rocket J. Squirrel.
Oh, sure, I've heard of him. Rocky, that's you!
And it was. Our boys were cheered by the enthusiastic crowd.
Red!
And then Rocky was installed in his new office.
Now, there's something you don't see every day, Edgar.
What's that, Chauncey?
A squirrel in Congress.
Oh, I don't know, Chauncey. Just a matter of time.
How's that?
They've had so many nuts in Congress, a squirrel was bound to show up someday.
True.
Gee, it's like a dream come true, Bullwinkle.
But when the mail began to arrive, it was more like a bad dream, for half of it was from the backwoods clan called the Hatfuls,
They demand I get rid of the Cloyd.
and the other half was from the Cloys.
They demand I get rid of the Hatfuls.
Boy, it's pretty tough being a congressman.
It certainly was, particularly since a member of each of the clans was at that moment in the outer office armed to the teeth.
And if he don't get rid of him, I'm gonna blast him. You said it, cousin.
Well, be with us next time for Double Trouble or Two's a Crowd.
6 baritone solos in the key of E.
But
If not... Ooh.
now for another of our special features.
Should have tried E flat.
The title of today's fable, Junior, is The Eagle and the Beetle.
I have a feeling this fable is really gonna bug me. Get it, Pop? Beetle? Bug me? Rather good, huh, Pop?
As a matter of fact, Junior, that's exactly what this fable is about. An eagle that was beetled by a bug.
You mean bugged by a beetle, Pop?
At any rate, let's get on with the story. It's that scroll over there. Let's see. This form must be filed on or before April 16th. Oh, Junior, you've handed me the income tax form.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pop.
Oh, yes, this is it. The Eagle and the Tax Dodger. The Eagle and the Beetle. Well, our story starts out on a mountaintop where there lived a fierce eagle.
You see all that down there? It's mine, all mine, because I am the king. Everything that moves down there is mine. I see a critter moving and zoom, zoom, zoom. Aha! There's something moving down there right now. Watch.
You've heard the expression eagle-eyed. Well, this particular eagle wasn't eagle-eyed at all. Matter of fact, he was terribly nearsighted, to say the least. Poor old eagle couldn't distinguish windmills from rabbits.
Well, maybe not, but I know a chipmunk when I see one.
What's the matter? You some kind of a feathered nut?
But still the eagle persisted.
Ha-ha! A field mouse. You know, I don't think that is a field mouse. I see, I was right. It wasn't a field mouse.
Oop!
Now, don't tell me that's not a rabbit.
Boy, that was close. That big eagle almost got me. Whew.
Well, sit down, Rabbit. He can't stay out there forever. Just stay here a while, then you can split.
And so the rabbit stayed inside for an hour.
Do you think it's safe to go out now?
Well, wait a minute. I'll check for you. I think this answers your question.
Well, this is pretty ridiculous when a grown rabbit can't even go off for a walk.
It's lucky.
Lucky?
It's lucky that Bugsy from Chicago is in town, and he's coming to visit with me.
Bugsy?
From Chicago.
Oh, Bugsy from Chicago. Who's Bugsy from Chicago?
Who is Bugsy from Chicago? Who is Bugsy from Chicago? Come in, Bugsy from Chicago!
I do not see nobody.
For goodness sakes, Rabbit, watch your mouth. Bugsy is very sensitive about his size. That's him standing by that wall plug.
Well, that's nothing but a beetle.
Just a beetle, eh, punk? You heard of the St. Swithin's Day Massacre, Who do you think pulled that caper off? Me, Bugsy, yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful. Yeah. How did you pull it off, huh?
How did you pull it off? How did you pull it off? Get this creep away from me. Time's money, Mouse. What's the caper?
Well, Bugsy, there's this eagle, see? And he's got Rabbit here cornered in my house.
And this eagle is out there now, right?
Show him, Mouse. There, you see? There's no way out of this mess.
Put another hat on a stick.
It's no use. The same thing will happen again.
Only this time, we put a break in the hat. Let's go out, you guys.
Very funny, very, very funny, that brick bit. Well, you're really gonna get yours.
But it wasn't me, really. It wasn't. It was Bugsy's idea.
Not only are you a rabbit-hearted rabbit, but you are also a fink. That's right, Eagle. Bugsy did it, see?
Who said that?
I did.
I don't see nobody.
Over here, stupid.
Oh, there you are. Well, listen, don't try and get tough with me.
What's the matter with him? He's some kind of a feathered nut.
I heard that.
Tell me, Eagle, how long you been nearsighted?
All my life. When all the other eagles were swooping down on chickens, I had to fake it. I had to swoop down on goodness knows what. If I told you the things I've swooped down on, you wouldn't believe it.
Well, how come you don't wear glasses?
And be the laughing stock of the eagles?
Well, listen to Bugsy, Eagle. I got a proposition to make to you. We could take over this whole town, see? Now, this is what I got in mind. All we have to do is... Navigator to pilot, 3 degrees to the left. That's right. Easy there. Easy now. 2 degrees to the right.
Roger.
Yes, with Bugsy as his navigator, the eagle could fly beautifully. And he became one of the troopers anyway.
Boy, this is better than the St. Swithin's Day Massacre. Yeah.
So the eagle regained much of his confidence. Too much of his confidence, really.
Hey, Bugsy, let's swoop down on that sparrow.
Sparrow? That's no sparrow.
Don't be ridiculous. I guess I know a sparrow when I see one.
No, wait a minute. No, that's not a sparrow. It's a...
And so the partnership between the eagle and the beetle was dissolved, along with the eagle and the beetle. Which brings us to our moral, Junior.
Moral. You cannot fly like an eagle if you're blind as a bat.
Blind as a... Oh, that Junior really beetles me.
Hello, poetry lovers. Today's poem is a saga of the Old West called Little Bo Peep. Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep and can't tell where to find them. Leave them alone and they'll come home.
Okay, stranger, get.
Get?
There's cowboy for scram.
Scram? How come?
You on my range, sheep herder.
Sheep herder? I'm Little Bo Peep and those are my sheep.
Your sheep? You got brand on them?
Brand? I wouldn't brand them. They're my little buddies.
Buddies. What kind sheep are buddies?
Friend sheep?
Oh. You got to prove to me they're yours.
Okay, you asked for it.
Oops.
Hey, where you going?
Can't you tell? I'm taking it on the lamb.
Ready, Rock?
You sure you know how to work that thing?
No. Anyways, here's what it was supposed to look like.
Hello out there. I am Peabody. The one with the newspaper in his mouth is my boy, Sherman.
It's a new trick I just learned, Mr. Peabody.
My heartiest felicitation, Sherman, but in the future, when you fetch my paper, don't grasp it with your molars. You've perforated the stock market quotations.
Shall I run out and get another one?
You won't have time. You see, we are overdue at Aachen, Germany.
Who are we going to visit?
The man who founded the first news agency, Paul Julian Reuter. After setting the time indicator for the year 1849, we enter the Wayback Machine, patent pending, and were immediately ushered to a small hamlet in western Germany. This was Aachen.
And look, there's Mr. Reuter's news agency.
Suddenly, from an upstairs window, a paper airplane sailed out and fluttered its way down to our feet.
Gee, what a keen airplane.
Yes, but a miserable news dispatch. I flattened the paper out, and there was a United Press story about a man biting a dog. The dispatch was supposed to be on its way to London, England.
Hey, what's the big idea slowing down the dispatch?
Really, Mr. Reuter, do you honestly intend this paper airplane to get to London?
Well, if the wind keeps blowing, yes.
Is this the way you send your news?
Samari, you got a better way?
Before we could answer, a loud bell began to peal. And the good citizens of Aachen started running to the other end of town.
Quick, grab a bucket and come.
What is it, a cow milking contest?
Worse than that, it's a fire.
Sure enough, we arrived just in time to watch a two-story building go up in smoke.
Why doesn't someone call the fire department?
That is the fire department.
There was nothing left to do but to toast marshmallows. If we had had marshmallows.
Oh, what a terrible catastrophe.
Cheer up, Mr. Reuter. You've lost a fire department, but you've gained a story.
Mr. Peabody's right. Why not send a dispatch to London?
Because my competition's beating me to it.
Reuter pointed to a gentleman who was busily setting down the details of the recent conflagration.
That's Fritz Grimmelshausen. He always gets his dispatches to London before me.
How does he do it?
Watch, you see? He stuffs the dispatch into the bottle and sticks it in the water. Then he waits for the tide to go out.
Herr Reuter, I don't like to brag. Too often, that is. But I am definitely most positive that with my aid, your communique will reach London before Mr.
Grimmelshausen.
Yes. The tide was already going out, so we had no time to lose. Seconds later, we were inside Reuter's news agency.
There, it's all set to go. Stand back.
We watched in horror as Reuter deftly fashioned another paper airplane and let it fly. This one got as far as the window, then nosedived to the floor.
Oh, conditions are no good for flying. I'm afraid it's hopeless.
Herr Reuter, air mailing your dispatches is the right idea. It's the manner in which you do it that's wrong.
What's the matter? You think I should put a pilot in the plane?
No. You need a different type of aircraft. I led the way to the roof, and there, perched on a shingle, was a pigeon. It was a simple matter to tie the dispatch to his leg.
Okay, pigeon, fly to London.
He's off! Congratulations, Mr. Reuter. You'll beat Mr. Grimmelshausen for sure.
Sherman was a trifle premature, for the aforementioned Mr. Grimmelshausen had spotted the pigeon and, quickly mounting a horse, took chase. In one hand, a pigeon gun.
Ooh, that stinker's gonna shoot down my dispatch.
Oh, no, he's not. We hailed a taxi and gave chase.
He hasn't fired a shot. What's he waiting for, Mr. Peabody?
He's waiting for the bird to come down and rest. But in the meantime, there's work to do. Quickly, take this piece of paper and make an airplane. Even as I spoke, our feathered friend glided into view and came to a halt on the left shoulder of the town statue.
He looks bushed.
Never fear, he'll regain his strength in a moment.
Oh, but it'll be too late. Look, there's that rascal Grimmelshausen.
And he's aiming the gun.
The paper airplane, Herr Reuter. I'll take it now. I quickly calculated the wind direction, velocity, and then let fly. The airplane took off, executed 4 perfect Immelmans, and landed directly in the barrel of Grimmelshausen's gun. The trigger was pulled, but the bullet had no way out, so... 2 days later, the pigeon reached London, and Reuter was firmly established as a news agency.
No more paper airplanes. From now on, I make them out of cardboard.
But he should stick with pigeons.
He will in time, Sherman.
What about Fritz Grimmelshausen?
Well, as you can see, he converted his news agency into a fix-it shop. He claims he can repair anything. Unfortunately, anything he repairs doesn't work.
Is that how we got the expression, on the Fritz?
Yes. And it's also how we got the expression, on the Grimmelshausen.
Politics, they say, makes strange bedfellows. But even hardened politicians were a little surprised at having to snuggle up with a squirrel. Yes, Rocky was the new congressman from Peaceful Valley, and already he had his problems.
Them hatfuls gotta go.
Them Floys gotta go.
This is a tough problem, Bullwinkle.
Yeah, and they expect you to pull an answer right out of your hat.
Well, then I will. I'll put on the Kerwood Derby and become the smartest guy in the world for a minute.
But we don't have the Kerwood Derby.
But we do.
Sort of spooky to watch a hat creeping up on you, isn't it?
I had the same trouble with some long underwear once.
But the hat was really being carried by those two now you see them, now you don't moon men.
Kidney and Cloyd.
And Rocky carefully put on the Kerwood Derby. It was a little big.
What's the answer, Rock? That's what I thought, but it's illegal.
What's he saying, Kidney?
I'm not sure, but I think it's take the hat off.
Oh, of course.
Phew, gee, that's better.
Well, what's the answer, Rocky?
It's easy. We're going to evacuate both families.
And so within the hour, busloads of hatfuls started leaving the state heading east, while busloads of Floys were leaving the state heading west. Oddly enough, they all seemed delighted at the idea. Say, don't you know what evacuation means?
Evacuation?
Dag nab, I thought that word was vacation.
But where will they all wind up, Rock?
I don't know, Bullwinkle, but once they're over the state line, they're somebody else's problem.
Say, he did learn fast, didn't he?
We better get that hat back to the moon.
And so as our friends waved bye-bye, the moon men took off in their flying saucers.
Have a good orbit.
Give my regards to Broadway.
Yeah!
Why so sad, Cloyd?
We were in 6 episodes, and I only got to scooch one bad guy.
Cheer up, maybe we'll find another one.
How about that one?
Yes, just below them was Boris Badenov pleading for his life.
Now, let's not be hasty, fearless leader, old body boy, sweetie pie. I can make it all up to you.
How?
I turn back all my medals.
Junk jewelry.
Give you genuine 14-karat gold brick.
Chicken feed.
My mortgage on the Pentagon.
A scrap of paper.
And last but not least, my autographed picture of Sonia Tofts.
Sonny Tufts, you found the chink in my armor, Badenov.
No, on second thought, shoot. I'd rather die than part with it.
A deal's a deal. You promised.
Phew, that was close, Natasha.
But as Boris took off his hat and wiped his brow,
Get him, Clyde? Direct hit.
yes, Boris had been frozen solid by Cloyd's scrooch gun, and what's more, he was standing next to a flagpole. In his frozen position, he appeared to be perpetually saluting the American flag.
And believe me, darling, for him that's a fate worse than death.
You sir.
Meanwhile, inside the Capitol building,
Gentlemen, as you know, this is the last day of this session of Congress.
Yeah.
But I think it only fair that we hear the maiden speech of our new colleague. Go ahead, Rocky.
Where's my speech, Bullwinkle?
Here it is.
but unfortunately, Bullwinkle gave Rocky the last page instead of the first page, so his first words were...
And so, Mr. Speaker, I move we adjourn.
Second!
All in favor?
Aye!
Adjourned.
Marvelous speech.
Best of the year.
But you didn't make your speech, Rock.
Bullwinkle, sometimes you can say the smartest things, but keeping your mouth shut.
Little moral there. Sounds like a tagline of the whole story.
And it is, too. But be with us next time for the further adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Well, I guess that about wraps up another Rocky show.
Certainly hope you enjoyed it. I did. I always say,
Bullwinkle, time for us to go.
already? Okay, but first, here are some of the people who made this show impossible.
That's not all.
The fingers get tired. Oop! Got away from me again.
Well, see you next time. Ready, Bullwinkle? Hurry!
Oop!